Hello and welcome out to this episode of Outbreak Gamers. I'm your host, David Anthony, aka WEBDAVE, my gamer tag, and I am with the one and only Ashen Luca. Luca, how you doing, hon?
Good. How are you doing today?
I am doing really, really good. Really, really good. Thank you so much for being a part of this today. I really appreciate it. I know you're quite busy. You definitely do a lot of podcasting, which I love. So, which is a good thing. So that's the whole thing here. We want to, more people to get to know different influencers and what they're about. And I think a lot of people would definitely find your show very fascinating. And so let's get down into it. I guess since it's Outbreak Gamers, I guess I want to kind of start with. I guess just to kind of give people maybe a ballpark without getting obviously too personal, of like maybe some jobs you've had in your career, like what things you've done, in your life, you know, I don't know, jobs,
Sure.
fair enough.
Yeah. I used to train people. Actually, I was a training and development coordinator, and that was my job for quite some time. And it's one that I really appreciated because it gave me the skills I needed in order to uh, talk to people. Essentially, you know what I mean. So it,
Right.
it it helped me develop my social skills even further, my emotional intelligence, and I think that's benefited me in the long run in terms of like me here on social media and doing podcasts.
hmm That's awesome. That's awesome. I tell you, you definitely you find out really quick by listening to your podcast that you're definitely intelligent and you definitely have an opinion on a lot of things, which is a good thing, I
Yeah,
think.
I think
So
it's I definitely think it's good to be opinionated, but just mindful that, because I'm not the smartest person ever. I'm still very ignorant about certain topics, but I'm here to learn and I'm here to have a good time essentially.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, we could all learn, is the way I look at it. We definitely can all learn from life and from other people, and maybe somebody can definitely learn from you. So I think that's great. So I guess let's start about talking about I guess gaming because you do play games. So let's talk about I guess like what was your first experience at gaming at all?
Yeah, so I was on the SNES and it was actually my mom's platform. So she bought it for me and my siblings, I guess to just keep us busy for a while. And we would play Mario and Donkey Kong together and that was a lot of fun with I had a lot of fun with that. And my
hmm
gaming experience just kind of has grown since then. I was very heavy with Nintendo growing up and then transitioned to PlayStation and then finally Xbox. And now it's like I have all the platforms.
Right, all right. So with your, I guess with you playing the Xbox, for example, I guess you've, with the PlayStation as well too. But it seems like multiplayer on the Xbox seems to be a way to really, I guess, connect with a lot of people. So I guess some of the things that you've done, I guess, over time, you've worked with, I guess you've done a lot of interesting things as far as your podcasting career goes. But I guess let's kick it back just a little bit to get to your name that you go by your I guess gamer tag, your Twitch handle. So, anything you can explain to us about the Ashen Luca?
Yeah, of course. So, the Ashen part is actually from Dark Souls 3. I'm a
Hmm,
huge Souls fan, actually.
yeah,
And then the Luca part is from Lucatiel, who is in Dark Souls 2. So I just kind of put the two names together, and I have like this here. Plus, Luca's a cool name, so
it is. It is cool. It is cool. It fits your personality.
yeah.
So that's cool. And I've noticed too that you've definitely got very creative on your I guess like your icons and avatars and the artwork that's on your I say website, but on your um, YouTube channel. I think it's really neat. So is that something you just you put a lot of thought into that or
Well, my banner, someone actually made my banner for me. She's not in the
right?
community anymore. She actually left a couple of years ago, but she made it for me. And then like as for my icons, my first couple of icons, my first one was from the Graphic God. And then after him it was Sean Labrie. And
hmm
then now I have like a consistent art guy who's you know, he's really reliable. And it's like, if I come to him like, hey, I kind of want this done, I want this done, he'll he's amazing. Like his artwork is absolutely phenomenal. So, you know, he will usually take care of any request for me, and occasionally he'll even do some like pro bono stuff where it's just like, oh, I just want to make this for you because I think it's funny or cute or whatever. So you know, as for the concept of my art, it's like the hyena thing. Essentially what had happened was is someone said that my laugh sounds like a hyena, and I kind of took that and ran with it. And when I joined the community, there was like a lot of people using animal figures to represent them, essentially.
So I guess you kind of felt that the hyena kind of fit you pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Plus they're very much kind of scummy sort of animals. And I just felt like that fit my brand.
Yeah, that's cool. So how did you get? I guess what was your first experience in podcasting, or YouTube and Twitch and those kind of things? How did you get started on all of this? What was like some of the first adventures that you had?
Yeah, so I actually I kind of stumbled upon this community. I was looking for more Xbox positive, Xbox centric content because I had just bought an Xbox One S, and I came across Xbox Nation, and I listened to the show and I was like, oh, I didn't know they did podcasts on YouTube, and I found it very interesting and compelling, and I just kind of started following like everyone on the show in terms of like the shows they would put on throughout the week and stuff, right? And then I started calling into MNC in the mornings, and I mean, there's not a lot of girls in the community. So once they realized I was a girl, there's a little bit of immediate interest there.
Right.
And then someone who used to run like a all-female podcast, she heard me and she was like, oh, I want that one. And she invited me to come on. And nice. I was so nervous my first show. Like I was shaking. I kept accidentally muting myself. I was using like a Turtle Beach headset as a mic. Like I was just so out of my, just out of my depth, you know what I mean? But
right, yeah,
they were all very kind to me, and they were just like, okay, so yeah, I'll just make you a member. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess, and I kind of just further stumbled into everything. And I've done a lot of guest appearances, a lot, and I was a member of a couple of podcasts too. Most notably being RDX. I was one of the founding members, and me and Dealer are still really good friends to this day, even though I'm no longer a member of the show.
Well, he speaks very highly of you, so that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a big bro.
Yeah. Well, we interviewed him a couple of weeks ago. Fantastic interview. He holds nothing back, which I love. And like I said, he definitely said that you were one of the founders, and kind of actually kind of was like it could be a good interview. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to her. That's awesome. So,
oh yeah, that's really nice to hear.
No, I can tell you, he's a good guy, and
he's a very good guy. Yeah,
I like his perspective, and I didn't get to see those, which I mean they're archived. I want to have to go back and watch some of the early episodes with you on RDX, because I just think that the chemistry there would be pretty fire.
Yeah, it was definitely a very fun experience.
Very cool. Very cool. So from there, from RDX, so what made you want to go on and do other things, or what, I guess what became available to you, or what did you decide you wanted to do from there?
Well, honestly, people had been asking for me to like start a channel for a while, because I had started my Twitter account, and I am a bit of a outspoken figure there. And so, there were some people who seemed to really like my viewpoints and perspective on things. So they're just like, oh, Luca, you should start a channel. And I just kept saying, no, what am I going to talk about that everyone else isn't talking about? You know what I mean? Like, if I want to talk about something, I'll just be a guest somewhere. It's like not that big of a deal. But then eventually I got to a point where I was just kind of like, you know what? I do actually like want to start a channel, and I do want to like meet new people and do my own podcast. I think that would be fun. And it kind of just like spiraled from there.
So is that the beginning of the SCUMCAST, or is it earlier than that?
Me and All Day Digital, he was actually another member of RDX. We had hit it off pretty well, and we were just like, oh, I think it'd be cool if we like started a show together as well. You know what I mean? And I started a Discord, and I let the boys in the RDX chat know. I was just like, hey, you know, if you guys are interested in like some solo stuff I'm doing over here, like just let me know. And I got a couple people from RDX to join the Discord, and like from the RDX chat, that is, to join the Discord. Some people from Twitter who joined the Discord, and I kind of just like worked very hard to navigate through some of the people I had met until eventually I got like my core group together, and we all became really, really, really good friends. And I wanted to make sure that we were friends before we did the show. I wanted to make sure we were friends, and most importantly that they were friends with each other, because there's so many podcasts that people start, and they do it with this misconception that things are like, it's easy to do a show, you know, it's just easy to just pick up a podcast, and you know, you just have to get a mic and just sit down and talk, and everything just comes so naturally. But that's not true at all. You have to be mindful about panel chemistry, and that was like a big thing for me. And you also, it's like, since we're in a community that is so volatile, I wanted to make sure that the people on my show were friends, just so if things ever got heated, it would never go to that point of, you know, people just starting to insult each other, take it to this like really ugly, dark place that it doesn't need to be, especially over something as asinine as gaming. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I mean, I worked pretty hard to just make sure that my people were like A-okay with that. And it's been beneficial, because I've had relatively the same panel since I started the show like 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I've listened, like I've listened to several of your shows, and the chemistry is definitely there. And you know, you can tell there's parts of the conversation when you all are talking, and you're just like, you know what, whatever, let's go on and start another subject. It's like, and they all just jump on board. I think it's great.
Yeah,
you know, it's got a really good flow. It's got a good chemistry, and you're not afraid, and you're always respectful and always mindful of other people's opinions, but you're not afraid, you know, to go in directions that, you know, maybe some podcasts don't necessarily let go. You know, personally, I don't. I've found that, you know, I try and stay away from political beliefs for myself, for the simple fact that you know, I would probably have my audience would be gone. So, you know, because you can alienate people real quick, and it's not intentional. You know, and it's not necessarily.
You definitely can.
Yeah, and it's not like you know, because I don't want to, you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and you know, and I totally respect that. You know, we had a post today that you and Eric Hutz for the win commented on, and you know, was a video of a I guess a flight receptionist, and man, that kind of blew up, and it was like, what were those people thinking, you know?
Yeah, very, very ugly, and
yes,
very ugly behavior. You know, it's just kind of like, dang, it is not that serious for you to take it to that part. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just, I just thought it was really silly, and it's just kind of like that kind of display of hatred. It's just, I just don't understand it. It's like, I mean, what is the point of any of this stuff? You know, just relax, just chill. And I said what I had said, but honestly speaking, I probably would have just called my manager. Like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, I didn't sign up to deal with this kind of like negative feedback and stimuli. So I'm not going to, you know?
Exactly. I thought she definitely put on a very brave face.
Yeah, she handled it quite well.
Yeah, because I don't know that I would have either. Like, or at least been like, you know, TSA security, hello.
Yeah. You know. I'd be like, no, I know she didn't just throw that at me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not only that, but she threw the mask that she handed her. Then she threw the ticket part, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, no, I would have been calling security. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm like,
Same here. So. That's why I said what I said. And then her comment was like, so like, wow, you need to wake up. People need to wake up sometimes. But you know, like I said, don't really go down that rabbit hole necessarily.
Yeah.
But you know, it's that's one of the things that I like about your personality, and it comes across in your podcast, is that you're not as afraid to just hey, look, this is what I think, and if you don't agree with me, there's other places to go, basically.
Yeah.
And I love that. I really, because some people get bent out of shape, but you don't have to put up with it. It's like, okay, cool, see ya.
Yeah, it's typically like something, my audience is very split in the sense of people have vastly different ways of thinking,
Hmm.
And something I've always encouraged is like I let my people know, it's like, listen, we don't have to agree,
Hmm.
but we have to be respectful. And
Yeah.
that's all I ask for you guys is if you disagree with me, please be respectful in how you address it. And then like, especially if it's on important topics, if it's like something
Hmm.
silly like, oh, I don't like root beer, because that's what we were talking about today. Someone's like, I don't like root beer. I was like, well, I do like root beer. And they're like, oh, well, and then it just became like a little silly argument. And then I was just kind of like, it's my opinion. Like, there's nothing you can say that's going to change me liking root beer. It's like, that's a silly conversation, like that's a
Right.
silly one. But if it's on a more serious topic, it's like, I would prefer it if someone would explain to me, like, okay, why do you feel this way? Let's talk about it. And let's get to this point where we can just either, I'm like, okay, I can see it from your perspective if you can see it from mine, or maybe we'll just agree to disagree and just move
Right.
on from this. Because I don't argue opinions usually. I try to
Right.
just understand where people are coming from. And it's like, you touched on the political aspect. I have no issues having people who are not this like not like-minded as I am, you know what I
Right.
mean? As
Hmm.
long as they can give like a logical explanation as to why they feel the way that they feel. And then I'm
Right.
not going to condemn them for their feelings either. I feel like especially nowadays, if you're not on the correct side of someone, they will denigrate you, they'll demean you, they'll call you a monster essentially. And it's like it's not that serious. It's not like it's serious, but it is not serious to the point where you have to essentially compromise yourself
Right.
by sinking down to a unbecoming level. So I try not to do that, and I try to keep things civil, and I just ask that my people do the same.
Well, and I think you do a really great job at it. So, like I said, I've enjoyed several of your podcasts, and there's been times when, like I said, the debate may ratchet up just a little, but it's never been Well, and like I said, you've I guess vetted your panelists to the point to where they are respectful, and at some point they'll be like, all right, cool. What else you got?
Yeah,
What else you want to talk about? Kind of
it's
thing, and
something
that's
I really appreciate about my boys, and it's like, I couldn't do the show without them. I need them.
right.
I need that kind of that balance there essentially, and people to have like different kinds of perspectives on things. And like I
Hmm.
said, they have no issues disagreeing with me, and
Right.
like they'll be like, no, Luca, I don't agree because XYZ. I'm like, okay, well then let's talk about it then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's in like today's, I guess, climate. There's definitely people, like, I mean, it's on both sides of
yes.
not to let's go to gaming, like with like PlayStation and Xbox. It's like I've got both systems. There are benefits to both of them. I'm gonna play both my systems plus my Switch and my Steam Deck. I'm gonna play all those places, but like some of the total craziness, and dealer calls us out a lot too. When when somebody's like, bragging about, well, Xbox can't do this because PlayStation does this, and he's just like, no, and here's the truth.
Hmm.
And then they still kind of, you're just a whatever fanboy or just a shill, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, you listen to what you just said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's very much a disconnect from reality when it comes to people in this space.
Mhm.
And it's like I feel like it's in every single group in which there is several components that make up a whole,
Mhm.
where it's
Mhm.
like, oh, I like this thing, and some people identify with the thing that they like so much that it kind of kills reason for them, because if someone's like, I don't like this thing, they take it as a you don't like me then, and
Right.
like people are not aware of that. I guess they're not aware of that aspect, because like folks they genuinely think that one side is better than the other. And it's just like, I've been around long enough to see very unbecoming displays from pretty much like it doesn't matter what you like. At the end of the day, it's the content of your character. And just because you like the same platform as me doesn't automatically mean that we're going to be buddy because you might be a nut job, you know? Like there's a ton of like there's a like is what I'm saying. There's a ton of crazy people in this community, and they don't know that they're crazy. They just don't get it. No,
about me, are you? I'm just kidding. Oh, look, I know you're talking about me. It's okay. I have feelings. Oh Jesus! But you're right. You're absolutely right that it's you know, there's, you know, and I mean, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too far, but I mean, you had mentioned, you know, like the one podcast that you got pulled into because, you know, like, well, it was an all female podcast and obviously you're female, but like, I mean, that in itself sometimes, I'm sure, and I say I'm sure, I have no fucking idea because I'm a male. You know, I just know I have a daughter, I have a wife, I have a mother, and I was raised to be respectful, you know, of those. And I, you know, I always try and put myself in a situation. It's like, you know, what if that was my daughter, my wife, my, you know, my sister, my friend, you know, kind of thing. So I try to be, you know, I try to talk to somebody one-on-one like we are now as people, and not necessarily as, you know, she's a female gamer, or she's a female whatever, and then I'm a male whatever. And, you know, I sometimes, obviously there's,
no,
you know,
I know exactly what you're saying, and I do appreciate
probably
that
doing
because
a bad job of getting around it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I do appreciate that because at the end of the day, it's like I don't want people to simply view me just because of one aspect of me, you know?
Right.
Like there's multiple things that make up me, you know? But mostly I feel like it's my personality that I would prefer people be interested in me because of my personality and not just because I'm a woman. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, for me, there are certain instances where I just refuse to engage in certain things anymore, right? Like,
sure,
when I first joined the community and I joined that podcast, I was completely fine with it because I didn't realize being a chick in the community was a problem until after I joined it, you know?
Right.
But now, as it stands, it's like I've been asked, people ask me to join their show and they say, I want a woman's perspective. I'm like, no, get away from me. Like,
right.
Like, on one hand, it's understandable, but at the same time, like, if you're just asking me because I'm a woman, I'm not interested in doing your show, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons, honestly, why, you know, I don't bring that up when I'm, you know, reaching out to somebody, you know. But I have reached out to a few females that are, I guess, you know, in the business, that influencers, and, you know, some of the bigger ones have a pretty big wall you have to get past, which, I mean, makes sense because they've had stalkers and weirdos and that kind of stuff, you know, kind of thing. And it makes sense. You know, like I said, I always want to put out a very comfortable environment on anything that I do. And I appreciate your perspective because you're a badass, first and foremost, you know. Your opinion is awesome. Well, I mean, it is. It's like I said, that's what's really fun about listening to your show is, you know, how can I say? Because I know there's some people out there that are like, well, she's a big hot chick, or he's a really good looking guy, you know. But it's like, who cares? That's, you know, what can they play? You know, what kind of score they got on this game? You know, that's, you know, that's the kind of thing that's, you know, when you're talking about the gaming community and a good community to be a part of, that's really what's most important, I feel like, anyway. So let's talk about some of the people that you've got together. You have a good, I guess, cast of characters for the SCUMCAST. So let's talk about who you got on and what you know, who they are, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah. So let's see here. First one is All Day. He's been so busy lately because he's like working on his own personal and professional growth. Nice. He also just had a baby. So it's like, awesome. You know, he hasn't been around, but he is like a founding member. He is, in my opinion, the funniest person on the show. I love having him on because he's like, I'm like, what? Like, he's always saying something like really crazy and off the wall. And I just appreciate having his perspective. Also, he's like a major PlayStation fan. So I like having like a big PlayStation fan on who is like reasonable, essentially. You know what I mean? And since we are such good friends, it's completely fine to have him. So like I said, he's busy with his own personal and professional growth currently, but he's always gonna, be important to me in terms of like the show and in terms of our personal friendship as well.
Awesome.
And then there is a Slow-Mo Backslap. He's actually one of the people I found in the Discord. Matter of fact, everyone on the show is someone I found through my Discord. And
Nice.
Other than Gaming Forte, I brought everyone on my show into like the community essentially, except for Forte and Def Singer, actually, because Def Singer's one of the newest members of the show, actually. So Slow-Mo, he's a very, very intelligent, I would say probably one of the people I look to when it comes to particular conversations. Like, we talk about pretty much everything, and I'll go to him first because I feel like even when we do have our disagreements and we're both very passionate, but we are typically in the same space, and he has the same train of thinking as I do. Like, he's very much a logical person, because I consider myself a logical person at the end of the day, right? And he will usually come to the same conclusions as I do. So I like to like bounce off certain ideas, or if I'm not 100% sure about something, I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this? And he's great to sound off for that. And he's also just really well-spoken as well. And I do appreciate that. And he's fun. We play, I do play, well, I mean, I played Halo with him back when we were playing Halo Infinite regularly and stuff. So he's one of my really good friends, and we talk a couple of times a week on the phone as well. Then there is Gaming Forte, and I love having Forte on because he's one of my Destiny bros, actually. So it's like, I'm a big Destiny player, and he's my fire team. Like, he's part of my fire team. And I like having him on because he usually plays the foil to Slow-Mo. They tend to disagree and go back and forth, and they have really good chemistry in that regard. And they host a podcast together, a DPS podcast, every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern and stuff. So, they have really good chemistry, and I like having Nautical on. I think he is ultimately very kind and very much someone who can diffuse a situation. He doesn't outwardly express his anger. He's usually just kind of like, all right, buddy, whatever you say, and he's just like willing to let the conversation go, because he is in customer service himself. He's a manager at GameStop. So he is used to like, he's used to talking to people, and he's used to diffusing like, kind of hostile or sketchy situations. So I enjoy having him on there. Not to mention, he is also very knowledgeable in the gaming space, as is Slow-Mo. Slow-Mo's very knowledgeable. Slow-Mo probably plays the most games out of all of us because he likes to play a variety of games, indies as well as the AAA titles. So, I commend him for that, because I certainly stick to only the games I want to play. You know what I mean?
Right.
But,
yes.
Yeah, so Gaming Forte, he's another great member of the show. Then there is Metaphorical. Meta is our technically he's a member. I have not seen that man in like a month. All right, where is he? I'm about to DM him, like, where have you been? Like, are you coming back? But he doesn't normally contribute as much because he doesn't really have much to say about gaming, because he's doing his own thing right now. Like, he hosts a comic book podcast. He does things with NFTs and crypto and stuff. So, if he'll come through, he just comes through to just hang out and then, say a couple of things here and there. But, if we talk about things that are not associated with gaming, he has a lot more to say. But typically, like, he's there for the outside perspective, because he has a very unique and interesting way of viewing things, where it's just kind of like, I'm like, what do you mean? And he's been right about a lot of stuff, actually. And it's like, over the years, at first I was like, man, Meta is crazy. But then over the years, I'm like, no, this guy actually knows what he's talking about, because some of the things he's mentioned has like come true and stuff. So it's like, he's got a very like interesting perspective. So I like having him on because he'll give me something to think about that I wouldn't have before. And then there's Def Singer. Def Singer, he is the newest member. really good guy, really good guy, very kind, hardcore Xbox guy, very supportive. You know, he was like a hardcore supporter before he joined the show, and I enjoy having him on. But you know, I'm also really mindful because he is still new to like being a regular podcast member,
Hmm.
and we are very much a combative group, and we do a lot of like back and forths, right?
Right.
And I feel like, I don't know, like maybe it's just me or whatever, but I feel like I have to be really mindful of making sure people don't try to talk over him or overwhelm him, I guess you could say.
Right.
Because like since he's so positive with Xbox, I have some people who are not so much that in my chat. And
Right.
they, you know, they don't like that. You know, they don't like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And
Come after him, right?
you know, they go after him. And like I said, he's kind of the newer guy, so some of the panel members try to go at him as well. I'm like, no, stop. Like I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I'm usually the first one to like jump to his defense or be like, no, what he said makes sense or whatever, you know? Because I
Hmm.
just don't want like at the end of the day, whatever my reputation is and whatever the jokes I may make, I do not want to come off as someone who tolerates bullying,
Right.
essentially. You know what I mean? And
Definitely.
I've made it clear to my chat as well. I was like, listen, Singer is not only a panel member, but he's my friend. So you will not disrespect him. You can disagree with him, but you will not disrespect him in front of me or on my show, you know?
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
he's ultimately a good guy. He's like a PC Xbox guy, and he comes through and he talks about the PC titles that I haven't tried yet, you know? So it's good to have him on as well. Plus, like I said, it is always good to have like someone who's just positive towards Xbox on.
Yeah. Yeah, and you are definitely are a good ringleader to
Yeah,
kind of to keep the conversations going, to keep them in a in a mostly positive direction. And when I say mostly positive, I mean sometimes there is negative sides to the industry, no
of
matter
course. Yeah,
So there's definitely things that need to be talked about, and that's what I like about it. That's you talk about you know gaming, you talk about life stuff too, real life stuff.
yeah.
That's like I said, it's a good mix. But on the I guess the big picture, it's mainly a gaming talk because that's kind of where you guys all kind of come from, or a point you guys all have in common, I should say,
Hmm.
is gaming. So which is like I said, makes the show really excellent. And I enjoyed a lot, and I'm going to be watching a lot more of it, and I hope other people that tune into this and watch this, and we're going to have all your links to your shows and your Twitter and ways they can get a hold of you in the description below, so they will definitely be able to check that out. So I encourage everybody, and if you get a chance to definitely make sure that you subscribe to the Scumcast, because it's just to subscribe to it, it's free. Doesn't
Hmm.
cost you a thing, and there's ways to support if you want to. Plus, you can also the best thing to do, which I encourage everybody to do, not only to subscribe to the channel, but is to hit the bell icon so that you're definitely not going to miss when the episodes drop. And when does the Scumcast drop for people who are tuning into this?
Yeah, so it's on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. I tried to make it a little bit earlier because the shows tends to run long, and I'm not trying to be up in there until like 11 o'clock. You know what I mean? So,
Yep. Yep.
but yeah, it's usually a good time, and that's usually when things are winding down with people in terms of like what they're going on with the family. Because other than Singer, like me and Singer, like the only ones who are single on the show. Everyone else is like a family man. So
Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's
yeah.
cool. So I guess if you don't mind, let's spend just a little bit of time on I guess the gaming the way it is today. Like I don't mean to be so broad. Let's narrow it down a little bit. But like there's some big things coming up in the next month or so with the Xbox events. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of Sony event. By the time this airs, it may have been announced already. But there's definitely some things coming, and a lot of games that people are anticipating. So what are your thoughts on the current situation, whether it be gaming or acquisitions or you know what do you got thinking about there gaming wise?
Yeah, I'm really interested to see where we're going to be heading going forward. I am looking forward to the Xbox event just so I can see, at least maybe try to get an idea of where their heads are at in terms of these titles, because we haven't seen anything since they got these. They have so many studios under them, and it's just like, that Xbox has no games. That concept, in theory, is dead, but like at the same time, we still need to see stuff, So I'm just like, I don't have any great hopes or anything. I'm just kind of like, I hope we see something overall. But the only thing I'm really expecting is to see some Starfield gameplay, because that's that's Bethesda's MO. But we'll see. So I'm good with where gaming is right now. I mean, the only thing I really wish, actually two things. I wish BioWare would actually make some good games again. I really do. And then I wish that games would stop releasing broken, buggy, and lacking content. Like, I just hope eventually these the publishers get to a point where they recognize that that initial boost to sales is not worth the long-term effect and damage that putting out a shoddy game does to their brand, please, maybe one day. I don't know.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, like, even like Halo, they gave it another year.
They needed another 2 years, I'm just like it's. Yeah. I mean, and the worst part of it is, like, from its foundation, the gameplay is excellent.
Oh yes,
it's excellent. Agreed. It is so much fucking fun. Oh, sorry, can I curse?
No, you can.
It is so much fun. I had like 77 hours in the game, just in the multiplayer.
Wow.
And I just absolutely loved it. I had a blast, but like the lack of content, I finished every single season pass that released last season. Like, I did the 100 rank one. I did all of the event ones, all of them. I completed all of them. And I was just playing the game just to play the game, But everyone fell off because it's like, well, there's nothing to do, or I'm bored. And honestly, at the end of the day, the biggest issue currently, that progression system is so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. And I don't understand. Like, this is such a huge misstep. And I feel like they did it solely so people would feel compelled to spend that money on the battle pass to push it forward, because the challenges are bugged. That's the first thing. And then they're also random and obscure ones. Bro, when I got that challenge that said stop stop 3 killing sprees, I was like, what do you mean I have to stop 3 killing sprees? So you're saying I have to deliberately make it so that my team is losing so I can stop someone who is killing all of us eventually, and just hope I'm in the right place at the right time to shoot this person? Are you kidding me? Who came up with that challenge?
Yeah,
because a killing spree, what is a kill? Like five kills or something like that?
I think so. Yeah.
Bro, I was like 3 times, once. Okay, maybe I could do the first one. I can do 1, but 3, I was like, nah. They are tripping.
Yeah,
they're tripping with this, bro. And then it's just I come back to season 2 after they claim that, we understand that you guys were upset. We've made some changes. Same old season pass. I was doing some free for all. My stuff was not progressing, and I was killing folks. Okay, I got second place, so I was like, where are my kills?
Yeah,
where are they? So, bro, I don't know. So I put it down. And I promised my audience, I was like, listen, guys, I am not trying to be like those people who just harp on hating Xbox. Like, I'm not trying to do that. So I'm done talking about it on my show. I told my people, we're done talking about it until they make some fixes. And I keep saying, people think I'm joking. I am serious. We'll see where the game's at in 2024.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know.
I'm hoping they get things fixed before then. I agree with you, definitely.
I hope so, too.
Co-op, I'm chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
I got friends that are like, well, as soon as co-op drops, we're going to run through the whole thing on Legendary. Awesome. See you in a couple years.
I mean, no, literally, though. I just don't know what they could have been thinking. I really don't.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm like, polish up Blood Gulch, Sidewinder, drop them in there. Let us have a little nostalgia fun or something.
Yeah.
Give us a little something else to do. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being greedy. Love Blood Gold.
Honestly speaking, I feel like you're asking for the bare minimum, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, this is such a, especially as someone who like I am relatively new to the Halo franchise. I played Halo 5, but I was only doing custom matches with my friends, you know?
Right.
And so I'm new to actually playing Halo, like going into the going to public matches, you know what I mean? And so it's like I learn more about the game as I continue to play through it, right? And then it's like going back, I went back to Halo 5 just to see and compare, and I'm just like, Halo 5's multiplayer was so good. Like, except for the gameplay, I will give it to Infinite for the gameplay, but in terms of like game modes and what was available day one, not to mention the customization options for private matches are just like non-existent in Halo Infinite, you know? And don't get me started on those maps. Like, some of those maps, I'm like, what were they thinking? Why is Launch Site a 4-player map? Does that make any sense? That big map? And bro, I was like, and then Behemoth is also a terrible map. Like, some of these game modes do not work with these maps, and it's like they didn't test them. And that's another, bro, if I get started on this Halo thing, I will never stop, you know?
That's all right. That's all right.
Oh,
that's all
man.
Right. But I agree with you. How's that? We'll just we'll put the nail in that coffin and be like, you know what? I definitely agree with everything you said about Halo. The only thing is, I wish that, or I have hopes that maybe in the next year or so, you know, I'll be able to come back to it, because it'll be like, you know, ooh, not just a fresh coat of paint or some putty on the walls, but something substantial that's like, okay, now this is the game I wish we had. And, you know, there's, you know, COVID, there's all this kind of stuff you can say, you know, but then is it an excuse this long?
I don't think there's any excuse at this point. Like, the game was in development longer than COVID was a thing, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Like, there is no excuse for it to 5 years?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I really just don't know. I don't know what they could have been thinking. At the end of the day, the hit that this game has taken in terms of, like, it's Halo. You know, it's Halo. It's your flagship brand.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I mean, at the end of the day, Microsoft will not allow this game to fail solely because of that. I mean, God, I hate to say it, but it really is a wait and see. And that's why I tell people, it's like they should have just delayed it in the first place, because then it's like we would have positive feelings towards it. And it's like they could fix everything going forward, you know? So, we'll see.
Totally agree. So aside from Halo, we'll show that on the side. So is there anything coming out in the future? I mean, we kind of mentioned a few things, but like, is there a game coming out that's not out yet that you're like, man, I can hardly wait to get a hold of this? What is your most anticipated game that you've got that's on the horizon that you're thinking about playing or want to play?
God, I hate to say it, but it's that Dead Space remake. There's just like no new games that I'm like super hyped for, because it's like, you know, it's Dead Space. I know exactly what I'm going to get. You know, I love that game, so I know what I'm going to get. I am looking forward to the Callisto Protocol. I just want to see what that team is doing. You know, like they're masters at their class and stuff. So, and then Saints Row. I want to play some Saints Row. Like, it looks fun.
It does.
You know, that story. I don't know. That story might be sketchy, but it looks like it'll be fun at least. You know.
Yeah, so. Exactly. It seems to be I guess the graphics here seem to be more realistic than they had in the past. But I definitely think that's a bad thing, but you know.
Yeah, I definitely think that the only concern I have is that the characters seem kind of wonky, you know? Like, one of the characters, his name's Kevin, and he doesn't wear a shirt. Like, literally, that's how the developer said it. I was like, these are gang members, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yo.
Like, what is going on? Like, and Kevin cooks, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know about this, man. I'm not sure, but you know, one of the key components of the characters is the boss, the main character, and it's that they're a sociopath, and they're like, no, the boss is still a sociopath in this. I'm like, all right, well, I'll take it then. Like, we'll see where it goes, you know, because I appreciate playing as a character who is just like unapologetically not a good person, you know?
Yeah. That's why we have games for escape, right? Look.
Yeah.
There we go. It's not living out my fantasies.
No, it's you know, I've touched on this a couple of times. Saints Row 2, right?
Yes.
Whatever people may feel about how it's a GTA clone or anything like that,
Right.
the protagonist for Saints Row 2 it's probably like the first time I was playing as a character and I felt like genuinely uncomfortable with what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And like kind of like, oh, I don't agree with this. Like there was a moment where like I said, the character is a sociopath. So they kidnap a rival gang member's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
They put her in the trunk of a monster truck car or whatever. They put her in the trunk,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have the girl's boyfriend run her over. And it's like she was just the girlfriend, you know? Like she wasn't heavily involved in what her boyfriend was doing, even though he was the gang member. And then like that's what you're doing as a player character. You're killing some dude's girlfriend, or you're inadvertently killing someone's girlfriend, and then you go to the other gang members, like his best friend, who's also not involved in any of the gang activities, and he's like a musician, and that's all he's wanted all of his life, right? You go to him and you just break his arm so he cannot play anymore. Like you break it to the point where it's like his dream is over. And I was sitting there, I was like, I don't like I don't
so brutal.
I don't know about this, you know? Like
Right.
I wouldn't make those choices myself, you know? Yeah. And it's like the brutality and just how like empty you and like the player character's best friend where it's just like just unapologetically evil, essentially, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that aspect of Saints Row 2, and they really toned it down in 3 and 4. It's like you're playing as like a different person, essentially. Like you're still a sociopath, but you're not as you're just not as awful, I guess you could say. So
right.
I'm interested to see. Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see like where the player character's at for this one. I mean, honestly, it may be he doesn't have a shirt because he's Kevin and he cooks. Like, yeah, I don't know, man.
And he's a good cook.
I don't know, man. So we'll see.
I'm with you on that. Definitely one to look forward to. Hopefully, it'll be on the right track. That
fingers crossed, dude. Like, I just needed to have a relatively decent story because I did like Saints Row 3 and 4, even though the stories were super wonky, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Well, Luca, thank you so much for being on our podcast today. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind, me too. It was great. Like I said, I love talking to you. Like I said, intelligent, fun to be around. Just good perspective and a good outlook, and I like it a lot. So
I love your setup. I think it looks great, and you got some good taste. I don't know about Black Widow, but everything else is great.
That's cool. Well, I'll give you the insight on that. Is that my daughter? She is a floor manager for a local movie chain, which is the Malco Theaters here, and so she is nice enough to procure me some posters as they come out. So, or I should say, as they take them down and go on to the next movie. So I've been very fortunate to get a very, very nice selection of posters, and so it's just kind of like, that's cool. Put those up there, make it look a little different. And I rotate them around every now and again, but that's why I have the posters. Not like, this is so cool. I put this poster. No,
it looks nice.
All my daughter. Thanks, I appreciate that. It's awesome. So I guess if you don't mind, let's just kind of tell everybody how they can find you and when your show is on, and to wrap us up as we get out of here.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at the Ashen Luca. And my show is Saturdays at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. We cover a variety of topics, but we focus on gaming the first half, and then we'll do like other topics the second half. So anything going on in the world, like we talked about the Will Smith and Chris Rock thing. We talk about Ezra Miller being a complete nut job. We talk about we actually talked about the Amber Heard situation 2 years before this case, because we had known, like, no, she's crazy, because there was the audio was leaked 2 years ago, so it's like we talked about that 2 years ago and stuff. So we cover like all kinds of topics on the second half of the show, and it's fun to talk about that stuff, because like sometimes there's just nothing going on gaming wise,
Hey, that's right, and like I said, I do love the way you cover things, because you bounce around with your panelists, and it's a really good show, and I think everybody should at least check it out, find out for themselves how much fun the Scumcast can be. Ashen, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Luca,
for sure,
you're
man.
awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
You did a great job interviewing me. I appreciate it,
Well,
man.
thanks. I appreciate that. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us here at Outbreak Gamers.